Welcome back, everyone. Ari and Dax here again for episode 2. Today, we are going to touch on the difference between calories. You see a lot of photos, usually on social media, of something like junk food versus clean food and how the clean food might have higher calories. And we basically just wanted to go over how calories aren't just calories. There's different ways in which the body will process the types of food that you feed it. They might make you feel a bit sluggish. They might make you have poor mental health. They might lead to excessive weight gain. And while there is obviously a proven point in calories in versus calories out for weight loss and weight gain or maintenance, there is definitely a reason why it is better to eat cleaner foods as opposed to sort of junk food. So, Dax, I just wanted to get your input on what you think about, when you see these types of photos where it's like, have a small Big Mac meal or have chicken and sweet potato.
I know the photos. Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about. It'll be like a Big Mac meal or something compared to like a pasta dish or something like that.
Yeah,
similar to something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like look, as you touched on, if we're talking about losing weight and calories in, calories out, it works, right? So the difference is, right, if you're having higher calories in your food, then you need to burn more calories. But, right, the difference between, say, like a Big Mac meal and then a big piece of salmon with veggies and some rice, your body responds so much better at digesting the foods, the salmon, the rice, and the veggie due to the quality of the food and the calories. So the good fats that we have in salmon, the clean carbs that we have in the rice, and the veggies and the veggies, etc. Compared to something like your Big Mac meal, that may be less calories, it's just going to make you feel sluggish and shit. And, right, if you have good gut health, then you're all going to have better overall health. So you're eating the salmon and your rice and your veggies that's highly in calories, you'll feel better for it the next day, right? You'll get up, you want to exercise, you'll have a clear mind, and you'll probably have a harder training session compared to the less calories in that food, i.e. the Big Mac, etc. You'll probably wake up feeling sluggish.
Yeah, 100%.
You're not going to have as good as energy, and you probably train like shit. So it's. I know you're not a fan. I send you these things. I send it because I know it pisses you off, right? And if you're sitting and you're counting your calories, etc., we get it. But are you missing the point? How much better you're going to feel and how much better your body works on the better foods.
You've got to nourish your body. Like, you've got to give it
exactly
nourishing food. It performs so much better.
You are what you eat.
Yeah, 100%.
You eat shit, you feel like shit.
You're going to train shit.
Exactly
right. Your progress might be halted. Like, your digestion's going to be shit. Your mental health could be shit. Like, it just has a spiraling effect. And I think that's where people get stuck. They think like, oh, cool, I'm going to do this if it fits my macros, diet, whatever it might be, which is cool. If that's sustainable for you, 100%. But I think it's very important that you don't go down the route of, all right, I'll have a sausage egg McMuffin meal for breakfast and that's 400 calories, and then I've got 1,500 calories to go, so for lunch I'll have Maccas, and then dinner I might just have like something small. Like, your body's going to perform so much better when you fuel it, like you said, with the correct foods. Your training's going to be better, your sleep's going to be better, your digestion's going to be better, your skin's going to be better. Everything will be better when you fuel your body with the right foods.
You're right. And then the reason why I probably said salmon, it's probably one of the higher calorie dense protein sources, and like a big cut of steak or something like that.
But it's got so many health benefits to it as well.
Amazing fats.
And you can still make that fit into your daily macros if you're doing it, if it fits your macros sort of diet or a calorie specific diet. So basically we just wanted to get the point across that you should be picking smart food choices for your goals, because they're going to get you there a hell of a lot quicker than having something that's very processed, very high in sugars, and while it might meet your caloric intake, your output is going to suffer, because you're not going to have the same energy expenditure. The food's not going to break down the same. It's not going to give you the same energy. So I think that's an important point to cover.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a big one is years ago it was massive, and there's still probably a fair bit. I mean, we know we have it in the Ola Cafe and stuff as well at times. Is the how will I put this? The raw treats, right? Like this could be go the way on the fence, right? Right? Yes. You remember the raw treat? You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
Raw,
yeah. I know what a raw treat is.
Yeah, okay. Like a raw Mars bar slice, right? And it's made on like almonds or cashews or whatever. Very, very calorie dense.
Yeah.
Compare that to a Mars bar.
Yeah.
Right? Now, a Mars bar is probably going to be way less calories.
Probably.
But how does your body work?
Yep.
Now the saying is people are different. People's body respond differently. But how is your body going to process the foods from a Mars bar compared to a product like a raw Mars bar or a Snickers slice, which is made on goodness, pure food?
Well, I guess
that's raw.
Yeah, the biggest thing is knowing how many calories you need to burn a day, or maintain, or whatever it might be, and then maybe not having that whole raw treat.
Yes. The biggest mistake is, but people were saying like raw treats, and I was, you know what, 100% I was guilty of this, and I was nailing a few a day. And I was putting weight on, thinking, nah, but they're raw. Do you know what I mean? They're raw treats, so why am I putting weight on? Fuck, I was having probably like 2,500 calories in raw treats, then my food. So, in saying all this that we've touched on, you still have to have a balance.
Yeah, there's got to be a balance.
You
100%.
can't eat 6 pieces of salmon a day. You could if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's a shitload of calories.
Definitely.
And how your body responds to different foods is...
I mean, even on that raw treat, you're looking at, say, your Mars bar, which is primarily sugar and fat.
Not all the chemicals and shit.
All the other stuff that comes along with it. It goes back to what we just said, how your body utilizes it. If you've got a raw treat, it's made on healthier ingredients. You just got to make sure that you weigh up and keep track of what you're eating in a day, whether you're going for weight loss or weight gain or trying to maintain. Know your calories, know what will fit into those calories, and understand that your body is going to run differently on different foods. I mean, even protein, like different protein powders or different protein sources. There's so many different types of protein, and while something might say high in protein, it doesn't mean it's a good form of protein. Like, there's so many variations, and people and marketers will often put high in protein on a product, so then people see it as healthy, when in fact it's just a bunch of, it could just be skim milk protein or
just a whole bunch of shit with
protein
that's naturally high in protein,
and your body doesn't really utilize it anyway.
That's right.
Even when you're looking at a protein powder, you want to be looking for high quality ingredients like WPI, WPC. A lot of cheaper proteins will be made on cheaper forms of protein, which might be milk protein and things like that, which your body has a harder time in digesting and utilizing. So I think it's very important that if you are new to this sort of area of dieting, or even if you've sort of been in the industry for a little bit and you know what you're doing in the gym, etc., start to scrub up on different types of energy sources, fats, carbs, proteins, and then go a little bit further and have a look at, high GI carbs, low GI carbs, the different sorts of fats, and then obviously the different forms of protein as well. I think you'll get a lot out of that if you start to break it down.
Yeah. Cool.
Now, we had a few questions.
Yeah, we posted up on their Instagram if anyone had any questions. Not just in regards to our last podcast, but if they had any questions they wanted to ask us for us to answer. And we'll probably continue this all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. If it's going to help people.
So we did have a few.
Sweet.
2 seconds. So the first, this is so common in podcasts everywhere and just normal everyday life, and it's important.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few people saying, look, they're suffering with their mental health and they can't get back into the groove of training and eating well. Now, and how can you get out of that rut? So I feel like majority of people have suffered bad mental health in any part of their life, whether
especially over the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lockdowns and COVID.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Junk, yeah.
And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I have the answer for you, because I don't. But we can basically go off what we've learnt from our experiences and what we've learnt from, say, somebody that does our challenge, and how their mental health has got a lot better after doing our challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel for myself, and I think we probably add on to that, is if you're in a bit of a rut and you're suffering some bad mental health, or you're going through a rough patch, and you know training will help you out, and a lot of the time it does. I feel for myself, a lot of times that I get up and train, I do it for the simple fact that I know how good I'm going to feel for the rest of the day. And the longer you leave it and you get caught in that, I think
what you're trying to say is like tomorrow never comes. When you say like, I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, the longer you leave it, the longer you're going to sit in that rut, right? And I feel like what you probably need to do, which has worked for myself and a lot of my clients, is set unrealistic goals, like short-term goals. Now, you're like, if I used to train 6 days a week and you're not even getting there at the moment, I reckon shoot for like 2-3 days a week, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever works for you, right? And that's a really, really good start, right? And then as your serotonin's releasing through training, you're starting to feel better, you're eating the better foods, a quality good food, so you're good, nice, good gut health, big serotonin release through your stomach. Add another day on. Maybe you get to 4. And then before you know it, you should be back to 5.
Yeah.
Right? And if that's your sweet spot, 4 to 5, you just got to do those little things to get through it.
Yeah, I think that's right, man. You just got to, I think when you're in one of those ruts, it's so easy to say, I'll go tomorrow, I'll go next week, I'll start on Monday. Just start. If it's Wednesday, just make a conscious effort to get up in the morning, put your runners on, go to the gym, go for a walk, whatever it might be. Because as soon as you start that cycle, it'll start to all just fall into place.
And when we say, sorry to cut you off, but when we say that, just get moving. It doesn't have to. You don't have to get up after 3 months off the gym and go, all right, I'm going to go belt legs.
This is probably the worst thing you
can do.
Just
get up and go for a walk.
Just ease yourself back into it.
You'll be surprised how good you feel. Just after a walk and getting started, getting moving.
I think the other thing is try and team up with someone, so someone else is holding you accountable. So you know that, I've got to meet Joe down at the gym at 5 a.m, whatever it might be. So then you've got someone else to keep you accountable. But yeah, like Dax said, I think it's just important to start setting some realistic and achievable goals, short term, that you can stick to, and then just build from there. If you need help, go and talk to someone. There's plenty of options out there, which, there's support for you out there. Just reach out, have a chat to someone qualified, and just take the steps that you need to get there.
Yeah, there are really good people. With all the shit that's happening in this world, there is some very good people out there, and a lot of people will put their hand up and allow them, give you their time to have a chat.
Next?
Well, this is a question we get all the time, and I knew it was going to come up when I put the questions up, and it was your thoughts on Ped'S, right? And I actually wrote back and I was like, in Ped'S performance enhancing drugs, right? And I said, in what degree, like in bodybuilding or whatnot? Nah, just in the younger generation. This is what we're going to base this question off.
Yeah, okay.
And I said, okay. And he goes, as you touched on it last podcast, so I don't watch TikTok and I hear a lot about it, but he said at the moment there's a big vibe about Ped'S, steroids, in TikTok. And a lot of these younger kids are jumping on the bandwagon and feel like, is this true? Because I haven't seen any of it.
I haven't seen this, so I'm not sure.
And
it wouldn't surprise me.
And jumping on it, well, you said that a lot of it's like people are talking about creatine, which is not a ped, to a degree. And these younger kids are jumping on steroids or whatnot, and without any education behind it, and basically wanted to know our thoughts on
I think it's a different time now. Like when we were, 18, 19, I remember I was so naive. I was so fresh, and you'd look at people like Ronnie Coleman, the guys who spoke about Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, whoever it might be, and you're like, do you reckon they use steroids? I was so green to it, and I was like, nah, surely not. Like, You can't, no. And then as you start to get into the fitness industry, you see it's rampant within the fitness industry. You know, most of those influencers with the, really good physiques have or are using some sort of PED, coupled with great genetics, dedication, diet, training, everything else. Where it becomes dangerous is when someone who is brand new to the gym, especially young men, want to rush it and they don't build a foundation. So they'll jump on whatever it might be, testosterone or whatever. They might put on 5-6 kilos, and then what happens when they come off, they fall back into their old lifestyle. They lose everything that they just put their body through, because you got to understand, you're putting your body through a process. Once you go down that route, everything changes. It can lead, and it might lead, probably will lead to some sort of health issue down the track, especially if you're starting to experiment with different sort of compounds. I mean, in the last 2 years, how many fitness people have died, like bodybuilders and things like that? And some of them look after their health really, really well.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that this isn't anything to stuff around with. I know when you're 18, 19, you might think you're invincible, but I mean, I've seen, you probably have as well, Dax, seen young guys shut themselves down completely, zero testosterone. Then you're fucked. You are fucked from there on in. So I think it's very important that you get, like, if you're thinking about it, do your research. We're not going to say you should do it. I'm not going to say you should do it. Definitely not. You got to earn your stripes.
The problem is, right, like, I'm going to sit here and say don't do it.
Yeah.
100%. I don't feel like there's a great time for anybody, male or female, to jump on steroids. There's not a good time. They're dangerous. They've got health risks. But we're going to say that, and then it doesn't matter. You're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So if we can educate you in the littlest part about what may happen if you're to go down that road, then yeah, we will be open. We don't want to talk about this all the time, but we will touch on it. And what Ari was saying was, I was watching a YouTube video this morning on Jay Cutler, right? And he was pretty open about his use back in the day and what he's doing today. And the guy interviewing was telling him about some of the courses or what the guy was using now, and he was blown away by it.
I think that's a big.
He was just like, you're shitting me, and he's like, the guy interviewing was like, man, look, this is what he and Jay Cutler, Mr. Olympia, right, was could not believe his eyes, right, and like he said, there's nothing, right, that beats hard work, good nutrition, and dedication to the gym.
I think that's a good point, because a lot of people think by getting on steroids, they're going to blow up. It's you still got to put the work in. It's not just going to happen. Like, it doesn't, like, it might help you a little bit, 100%. But if you haven't got a solid foundation of training, you haven't built that foundation of, lean muscle tissue, you're not going to get much out of it. And you're, one, wasting your money. Two, you're wasting your health. I saw that interview actually, and they were talking about
Greg Duche.
There's another one, and they were talking about just like this local guy doing a local show, running more gear than Mr. Olympia Jay Cutler was running going into the Olympia. Like, it's crazy. And I mean, we see it with a lot of people that compete. They're running a lot of stuff, and it starts to get very dangerous.
And especially like if we're going to talk these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, like, you really, really have to be careful.
Why do you need more testosterone at that age?
You guys should be banging.
Yeah, that's the best time for you to grow.
And the worst thing that you can do at that age as well is do both. Do that and then go party all weekend. When I was 17, 18, 19, actually probably 16, 17, 18, I was partying pretty decent. I was giving it a red hot crack. And I feel like that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
And if I was to do that back then, at that age, the health risk just doubles.
It's putting a lot of stress on your body.
You're drinking, you're doing this, that. You're not sleeping. It's you guys should be. And if you're serious about your bodybuilding or getting gains at that age, mad, and you're not partying, sick, love it. So was I as I got a little bit older, but you shouldn't be. You shouldn't. I personally believe you shouldn't be doing this at that age.
No way.
Right? The health risks.
And your testosterone is through the roof anyway. Like,
don't fuck your testosterone. It should be rising to at least, 24, 25.
Yeah. I mean, from 25 as males, it does start to decline, but still, you can still make
don't get
mad
sucked in by
gains
some
by your mate that does it. Like
TikTok shit.
Yeah, and chances are your mate that does it still looks shit.
Yeah,
there's probably
put the hard work in.
Yeah,
you know what? Like before you think about that, train hard, eat well, and then get everything else right before you think.
Before you think about that, watch our last episode where we talked about natural bodybuilding and training hard and doing a show. Like if you really want to go down that route, line up with a coach and do a local comp and go against some of the natural guys and see how you stack up. If you're not even stacking up against the natural guys, there's probably no point you jumping on anything and risking your health.
Cool. I feel like we've touched pretty
cool.
well on that. Someone asked, can you tell me some wild stories from your preps? You prepped for a show, so you should have a couple.
I remember one.
I got heaps.
I remember going for a walk. I'd been and trained. I went home, had my meal, which was next to nothing, and then I went out. I was like, I'm going to do another half-hour cardio. And I remember walking halfway, and my blood sugar dropped. Like, you know when you get that blood sugar drop, you're just like, oh. And I remember thinking, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night on like a Monday, middle of Terrigal. It was like a ghost town. It was winter. I remember my blood sugar dropped so hard that I thought, man, I thought I was not going to make it home. I turned around like halfway up the hill going over like towards the lagoon and that. I turned around and I thought I was going to have to like crawl home to make it back, but I can't remember what I ate. I would have went to town on something.
I have heaps, but I'll just touch on a few of the ones apart from like, I always thought to myself, I know when I'm nearly ready because I'll be talk to myself. And
I do that every day.
Like, yeah, but like to the point where like I'll be doing the dishes and then like I'll mumble something and laugh. And then you'd look around, you think, fuck, I hope no one saw that. That's when I do that all the time. We're on the treadmill and I'll legit talk to myself. Like that was pretty common for me. But another one too was getting ready for this. It was like the second time. Like I was backing up after winning the Junior Miss Australia, and I thought I'm going to get even leaner. And I was starving myself, and I was that hungry. I was driving home from Coles. I was with my mate, actually Steely at the time, and we both pulled over. We were both that hungry, and we ate 2 to 3 big massive heads of raw broccoli on the side of the road, like munging into it because we're that like. I was just smashing it, like nailing it, like it was insane, like ridiculous, right? And this probably took the cake. Apart from the last one, when I said that me and Mike ate all that Sarah Lee, I lived with my mate when I was at that point. I've lived with 3 of my mates, and those blokes, they trained a little bit, but they'd like come weekend, Friday to Monday, and it was hard for me to live in that house to prep for a show when I just needed to sleep out to do my cardio. So a night before the show, I got my dad to take me to Sydney to stay at my nan's house because I couldn't be near it, right? And I have a habit, and I still get up during the night and eat, right? All the time. But during a prep was worse, right? Anyway, woke up the morning of the show, and I licked my lips, and I was like, fuck, what is that? Tastes like vanilla. And I was like, oh, fuck, I don't know, whatever. Feeling pretty good, looking pretty full actually. I'm thinking, fuck, I'm full. And then I walked out into the kitchen, and my dad goes, fuck, did you enjoy that ice cream? And I was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, you nailed the whole lot. 4 litres of ice cream the night before the show. The whole lot, bang, just gone. And I was sat there and I was thinking, nah, I'll go for a walk. 2 hours cardio before getting on stage. Insane.
I remember one time I cooked all my meals, cooked all my sweet potato, and it fell on the floor. I remember blowing up at it, going, "Oh yeah, of course you'd fall on the floor." Yeah, you'd fall on the floor.
Yeah, someone's in my head. Yeah. The opposition made this happen. There's heaps. You know what?
You go loopy.
Yeah, you go heaps. That's why, like we said last week or our last podcast, like the extremes that you go to. Do you remember, just quickly, you do remember this, last show Mike was doing, and we were prepping him, and he was looking flat, real flat, which was fine because he was going hard, and I said, Mike, you need a steak. Mikey, you need a steak tonight.
And we were next to each other while this was going.
Anyway, 2 seconds later, rings me. I'm thinking, fuck, I've had one of those days, put on loudspeaker. And I go, yo, and he goes, Dax, forget the steak. Screams it at me. Forget it.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Forget it.
We're not having a steak. And I was like, all right.
Me and Dax were pissing ourselves.
I was like, it was just a suggestion, like, it's going to make you feel better. You're looking pretty friggin' lean 3 weeks out from a show. Nah, forget it. I don't want to hear about it again, all right? About 4 hours later, rings me, fuck, I need that steak. And I was like, all right, mate, let's have that steak. But we still joke about that today. FTS.
Do you remember with Mike as well, that time you went to New Zealand, you covered him in tan?
Oh,
and
man, did I? Oh, that was
had
a
to wipe it all off and start again.
We flew all the way to New Zealand. It's a fucking hour and a half flight. we went to okay. So you know what? We'll try and wrap it up quick. This one, the day we had to fly to New Zealand and make the weigh-ins for his show because Mike was going to compete in Classic in New Zealand show. Anyway, his missus at the time booked an amazing flight with this company we've never heard of. So, but when we were driving there, I was thinking, I never heard of this. This should be sweet. Anyway, delayed, cancelled, bang. Oh. And we're like, wow, we've got to be in New Zealand in 2 hours to make this weigh-in. Anyway, we had to pay shitloads on this flight Qantas to get there. Finally got there, 5 hours late, didn't even get to weigh him, right? The guy said, all good, just turn up in the morning of the show. Get there, shit, it was the hardest. Everything was sort of still going wrong. Mike's trying to not be stressed, looking amazing. Get there, mate, you can't do Classic. What do you mean Australia's not letting you do Classic, blah, 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 whatever. So he had to do super heavyweights. I said, fuck it, let's go backstage, calm him down, tan him up. Now I was thinking, like, this is his first time on a big stage like this. I'm going to do it, because I've tanned a lot of people, and I was like, I'm going to make this one of the best.
You were the tan man.
Yeah, this is going to be the best tan I've ever done.
Man can
And I was
tan.
just going back, I was getting everything working perfect, like ripper. Like, we were ready to crack, and the tan was looking good. Mike was looking mad. And then this kid that was competing, that kid, he was probably the same age, but he looked like a kid. He goes, boys. And I was like, what? He goes, you know you can't use that tan? And I looked at him, I said, bro, you've been sitting there for an hour while I tanned him. Why the hell did you tell me now? And he goes, just remembered. And I was like, what? So I went and got the guy that was running the show, and he comes and goes, yeah, that tan's got to go. Which was, I guess a couple of people wanted to know about business side of things with NXT-GEN.
Okay. Like what?
Well, that's the thing. I guess we can touch on
kind of like how we started and all that, or was it?
I feel like what's the good and the ugly?
Oh, okay,
of running a business. I feel like a lot of people that run their own business will probably agree with a lot of the shit that we could talk about.
For sure. All right. Well, for me, I would say I wouldn't have it any other way now. The good far outweighs the bad. I love being able to do my own thing. If we want to do something, we don't have to answer to anybody. It gives us complete control over the business. It's led us to meet some amazing people. It's led us to do some things that I never thought I'd do in my life. It's just I think it's something that we genuinely love doing. We turn up each day, and well, for me personally, I'm going to talk personally, I love coming in, designing. I love talking to the customers when they come in. I love getting new products. I love helping people achieve their goals. But obviously with everything you love, there's going to be some things that you hate. Tax is always a big one. I hate paying tax, and I think that's one side of things that people who don't have businesses don't see. It's like, oh, you sell this product for $69.95, you get $69.95. No, you don't. You have a margin. You might make $30 profit on that. Out of that profit, you got to have your wages paid for, your rent paid for. Some has to go to tax, some to GST, then your utilities. So you might only make $10 profit per product. And, it's hard when people come in and expect discounts or freebies or, whatever it might be. Like, there's the one thing that annoys me, right? You can go into Kmart, right, and pick something off the shelf, and no one will ever bat an eyelid about, at the cash register, can I get this as a discount? But people come into small businesses. It's usually people that we've never even seen before, and they're like, "Oh, can you do a better price?" I'm like, man, we're a small business. We're not a multi-million-dollar company. Like every penny, every cent that we give off a product hits us, hard as a small business. And I think it's anything that you receive off a small business in terms of money or in terms of freebies or anything, you should be so thankful for, because they're literally giving it to you out of their own pocket. Other bad things would probably be the long hours sometimes do get to you. Sometimes you're just stinging for a day off, and then you realize you got to work the whole weekend, and that might roll into 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Sometimes you just got to get it done and pull your socks up and just suffer.
I feel like when people, sorry if I cut you off there, but we're touching on that, and people were like, I want to start my own business because I want to work my own hours.
Yes, never
sweet.
that.
Do you want to work 8 hours a day then? Because realistically, starting your own business ain't going to make you work less hours. It's going to, unless you want to plod along and you don't really care. Majority of the time, if you run your own business and you want it to obviously do really well, you've got to make it crack by working those long hours.
You got to do things you don't want to do.
You know what I mean. When we started NXT-GEN, right, I was like, this is going to be sick because I get to talk about supplements and training all day with people. That's all I want to talk about. That's all I like to talk about, majority of the time. That and dogs but yeah, realistically, it's not just all that at all.
No.
I get to spend a decent amount of hours a day talking about supplements and training. But other than behind the scenes, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff I hate talking about. I hate talking about numbers. I hate talking about taxes. I still don't understand all that shit. You know what I mean? So you'll be doing things, right, that if you're going to start your own business, that you don't want to do in your business. It's just the way it is.
I think that's why they say most small businesses will fail within the first 3 years, because it's not cut out for everyone, 100%. And it shouldn't have to be. Just because you go down that route and you say you fail, or I don't even call it a fail, you should be very proud of yourself that you tried, because a lot of people won't even take that step. But like Dax said, you've got to put in the hours. Like it's a slog, and anyone who owns a small business, whether it's a plumber or a builder or a retail store or a cafe, will tell you the same thing. They're always working. It doesn't stop, and especially now with technology on your phone and everything, it doesn't stop. Yeah, you're answering questions when you're at home, trying to relax.
Your mind never switches off. It doesn't. Like I said, if your business has been running for 20 to 30 years and it's doing really well, then you can probably get more days off. You could probably take your foot off the pedal a little bit. But when you're 30 years deep, obviously we aren't, we're not even close. You're probably more driven. And then you're worried to take your foot off. You know what I mean? And I guess, like, saying all this, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love this. I really, really do. And I know you do as well. But yeah, there's realistic things in your business that a lot of people don't understand.
I mean, the stress is definitely probably the worst part. Like, when shit hits the fan.
We're actually only 25 years old.
we look 70, but it's all good. No, but I mean, saying that, like, you've got to be passionate about it. There's no get rich quick unless you're that 0.001% that somehow strikes it rich. It's years and years of battling. But you got to love it. That's why you got to do it. Yeah. If you don't love it and you see it as a quick cash grab, it's not gonna last. No way. Of course. Yeah.
That was probably most of the questions. They're all very similar, but I feel like we touched on majority of them. Yeah.
Well, we hope you guys got something out of this, and if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. We'll get them answered on the next episode. Thank you once again, Dax.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.